CBF.
Lone Crit?
My eyes. They've recently been opened, and I've come to see editors of all sorts, every variety and type, as a blight on the anime creative industry, on every creative industry. I think the role of editor should be permanently removed from every sort of creative field. Every editor that exists should be fired from their posts and put out on their streets. Their families and friends be damned. In fact, I will make it my mission to have every single editor removed from their job in order to no longer inhibit creators and the creative process.
Oh, come on, Lone Crit. Not every editor is as bad as the guy from Shirobako's second half.
I highly doubt that, since humans are inherently evil. After yesterday, I saw the world for what it really is. A shithole. And I'm only acting appropriately.
Father?
Son, please tell me you did not beat your meat to Luffy X rubber inflation dojins on fucking grad school computers!
Look, yes, but look, Father, listen, Father. You have to understand. This is a place of forgiveness, right?
CBF?
Lone Crit?
Is there something you want to tell me?
I've got nothing to say to you, racist!
My racism, or lack thereof, aside.
Oh, so he admits it.
My racism, or lack thereof, aside. Hand it over.
Hand what over? Are you mugging me right now, Lone Crit?
Hand it over.
Alright, Hakumen. Look at where I got this. It's a pornography store. I was buying pornography.
You know damn well what that is. Let me remove that slip cover.
The gasp!
How dare you read one of my favorite shonen manga without letting me know first?
Okay, I was gonna wait until they get volumes 2 and 3 localized like they promised. I was gonna have a better, more in-depth Akane-banashi discussion, but now we can't.
The Newtypes podcast. Lone Crit. CBF. Kaiser. Kaiser. Lone Crit. CBF. What? Anyway. Shirobako.
And we didn't bring any donuts, so we can't go nuts.
Or crazy if you watch the dub.
You watched the dub?!
Alright, now hold on a minute. I only watched a little bit of the dub. I watched like a couple episodes just to see how it is.
Okay, but...
How many's a couple? 18? 20? 22?
4.
24? What?
No, I said 4! I said 4, I meant 4.
He admitted it! He watched the whole 4 episodes!
Now, to clarify for anyone listening in, we are not dumb haters in this house, but...
Speak for yourself.
Why would you watch Shirobako dubbed?
I never heard anything bad about its dub.
I mean, fair enough, but it would be like watching Carnival Phantasm dubbed. Just, why?
Wait, you didn't watch Carnival Phantasm dubbed?
Does it even have a dub? I don't even think it has a dub, but if it did have a dub...
You guys watch Carnival Phantasm?
Alright, listen here, partner.
Yes, it's arguably the best Fate entry out there, but anyway.
It's funny sometimes.
Carnival Phantasm is one of the better Fate entries, but that's neither here nor there.
You're one of the better Fate entries. Code Blaze. Fate.
Yes, I am. But anyway, Shirobako. Since you both started watching it, I haven't seen it in about over 6 years. So feel free to lead us. Feel free to take me on this journey, where I relive the show vicariously through you, good men.
Shit, can't you lead us?
Alright, so let's see.
Wait, I have one thing.
Yes?
How do we feel about the ending when the director did a belly windmill and blew everybody against the wall?
This makes complete
Good place
sense
to
in
start as any.
context.
Does it? Does it?
I mean, I'm actually fine with it in this case, especially because the show made it very clear up front that it was already gonna fuck with the rules of reality. Miyamoto is talking to actual dolls, and they talk back to her.
Also, Lone Crit, you have to understand, we have the anime equivalent of the Linkara meme. I think that is worth the price.
That and just the episode was just so... That and just like the final race to stop the editor's bullshit was so much fun.
Fuck that guy, he should be fired and put on the street.
I'm pretty sure he was fired at the end of this.
Yeah, he was.
But was he put on the street though?
Well, he might be. That can be headcanon. That can be our headcanon now.
That is Lone Crit's headcanon, episode 25 of Shirobako, the OVA.
He doesn't deserve that suit.
Do you want his suit?
Anyway, so about the dolls. I don't know CBF, like, she does talk to the dolls and they do talk back, but I thought that was more like a visual representation of what's going on, like, in her head, but I can't imagine the belly helicopter as anything other than literal.
Fair, but also at the start of the show, they're just full on speed racing like it's Initial D.
I get that, and that's really funny, but come on, I think we're dealing with, like, different levels of exaggeration of reality here.
I guess. It's also just that we've seen multiple times that, yeah, no, these characters are just talking to fictitious beings, including in the actual finale, too.
Yes, like totally not Hideaki Anno.
That's different.
Wait, this show has Hideaki Anno? I thought his name was Mano or something.
Manos, the Hands of Fate, with the Eva couch, and the Yamato. Whatever happened to that thing, anyway? It disappeared on us while we were in space.
We'll figure it out.
Was that the Yamato?
No, never mind, that was the Arcadia.
So there's a certain character CBF that I recall, since we're just really fumbling here, there's a certain character CBF that I recall you hate, that you view as a blight on humanity, an abominable abomination that is your only major negative with the show. A vile creature the likes of which, if it were violently dismembered, only then would that serve as sufficient retribution for the sin that had been inflicted upon your eyes and consciousness and even more so ears.
I forget the name of the character, but I know you're talking about that annoying squeaky girl from the second half of the show.
She is not that bad.
Or that is the bulk of her character.
She is not that
Yeah, no, Lonkert is very much playing up my distaste for her, but yeah, she's the only character that I was actively annoyed by.
Well, that's because he just wants to feel less crazy for his irrational hatred of Eri from My Hero Academia.
I mean, is it possible to be crazy about hating Hero Academia? I think that's just common sense.
It's common sense? What? You have that too?
Be that as it may...
Yes.
I wasn't that annoyed by her.
Yeah, same here.
I will say though, when she was introduced, I was like, oh, that's who he meant.
But now, for the character you hated at first, how do you feel about Taro-kun and his progression from the biggest roadblock in the first half of the show to
basically harmless?
Not that.
Yes.
Yes. To actually dealing with the biggest one of the bigger roadblocks of the second half of the show.
I really liked his friendship with Glasses Twink Geeky Bakugo. It was cool. That was a really cool scene.
Nerd Twinkie Bakugo. Why would you call him that?
Well, I mean, what would you call him?
I'd call him by his actual fucking name.
You remember his actual name? What a nerd.
CBF, you know how bad Lonkert is at names.
True, and so am I. I haven't seen the show in 6 years. But I know who you're talking about. Daisuke Hiroaka.
You totally just looked that up on your phone under the desk.
What? No. What?
You what? Never, not once, not one time, right?
No.
It's fake news. But you know, it isn't fake news. How good the old animator character was. I really liked him.
Oh yeah, I think that's like where the show really started clicking with me, because I think what really needed to get me on board was the idea that the characters really, like, care about what they're doing. There's this interest in the craft.
I mean, I've been had that.
I don't know, because, like, for the first 2 or 3 episodes, I remember it being, like, more like procedures and stuff. People are just, like, existing, working, doing their job.
And then there's Taruko not doing that. Or at least not doing it well, depending.
Yeah, remember when a whole, like, mini-story, the entire problem happened because of him playing the shittest game of broken telephone ever, or rather being the worst broken telephone ever?
Yeah, I heard of Chinese telephone, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah, put two
We are so
put
getting
two
cancelled.
cups and a wire together and that would be more effective than him in that episode, from what I remember. But yeah, stuff like, just the sheer... I remember when I watched this show, I got secondhand stress from just the characters constantly tearing their hair out at just the production constantly collapsing, the director being incompetent, and pulling a very light version of what Phil Lord did in the Spider-Man Spider-Verse 2 movie, in terms of just making scenes have to just be redone outright, and then Taro-kun just fucking up, being lazy and cavalier about everything.
Yep.
Us for real,
For the
real.
first show that was produced for the first 12 episodes of the show.
Me for real,
Our
for real.
show.
Me for real, for real.
For real.
Anyway, but yeah, the bit where that the show really started getting me on board, though, I think it was when, yeah, we got into that story with the old man. I don't remember how many episodes it is where, he shows that, he's been around for a while, that he sticks around partially because he really cares about what he does, and through, like, imparting his expertise onto people from the newer generation, it demonstrates this really, like, long-lasting care for the act of production, for what he does, and kind of, not exactly this passing the torch, but kind of, in a way you could say this, not transferred skill, transferred appreciation for what a longish history these people are, forming a part of.
Yeah, at Musashi Productions.
It's just too bad that the shows they make look like shit.
Yeah,
And that's when they're not melting like Jiggly Jiggly Heaven, which, unfortunately, nowadays we actually have an example of that with Marchen Madchen IRL.
Sounds like your type of show, CBF.
It's done by the same studio that made the Blaze Blue anime. I am never watching that.
No, I meant Jiggly Jiggly something.
Shut the fuck up,
I've
Lone
seen
Crit.
your Twitter, I mean X, don't lie.
But anyway, and also stuff like when the CG team and one of the 2D animators had a little bit of competitiveness against each other, because the classic thing that anime fans can agree on, that we don't like CG that often in this house.
I like Ajin, shut up.
I said that often, Lone Crit.
I know, I just wanted to praise Ajin.
Ajin is pretty cool.
And Hoseki no Kuni.
Yeah,
That one's
and
great.
B-Stars. Don't forget B-Stars.
I knew you were gonna say that.
What is that supposed to mean?
Why do you like Bundy's blowing wolves so much?
That didn't happen, Lone Crit, and you know it.
It nearly happened.
But yeah, otherwise, CG doesn't get a great rap in this house, even to this day, if Fully Cooley Grunge is anything to go
Do
by.
not speak that name. We do not. That doesn't exist. It is fake news. Okay, Fooly Cooley was great.
The only Fully Cooley sequel that exists was Alternative, I understand.
What about you guys?
That doesn't exist yet. I don't think it will exist in anyone's minds anyway, though.
It has a cool name, though. Anyway, they're returning to Shirobako. That was, the first example. The other one is the Idepon Miyamori episode, where you just have, the 2 guys who are in the situation. Yeah, as you said, the CG and traditional animator guy, well, traditional air quotes, that had the whole situation broken created because of Taro-kun's broken telephone madness. And then they just go to this museum or something for Idepon, and they they bond over talking about Idepon, and why they got into the industry. I thought that was really nice. I like it when you see a show nowadays and people talk about an anime, and it's not something that came out like 1 or 2 decades ago.
Yeah, which makes sense because these are much, older people in the industry. Like, not significantly older. They're probably in like their 30s or something. But it's what you would expect from people like that because there are a lot of animators nowadays, or just people in the industry in general, that say, hey, I grew up watching freaking Yamato. Like, I was around when freaking Ava first came out. Or I was around when fucking Yu Yu Hakusho happened, and that's how I got into this shit. It's like, it's always so nice to hear.
Asuka was my first waifu.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Don't start that war back up. We both know you hate Asuka in this house.
Of course, nowadays there's a 4th option. Anyway.
Also, Diesel-san is adorable and she's fun.
Is that the woman where Taro keeps commenting on her tits? Dude, Taro is like an HR case waiting to happen.
The dude is a Redditor, except he doesn't use Reddit.
As far as you know.
As far as we know.
I really like how the hand-drawn animators guys, like, the reason he got into the industry is Idon, but the woman who also does the keyframes, I think, that Miyamori or, like, Taro keep delivering, or, like, taking, I think, keyframes to and from. She got into the industry because of Beautiful Dreamer, the second Urusei Yatsura movie. So I think that's like that's 2 cute references.
Oh.
That's very interesting, especially because apparently I heard that used to be hated by Urusei Yatsura fans.
Really?
What? Urusei Yatsura / Rumiko Takahashi fans don't like Mamoru Oishi things? What?
Yeah, weird.
That's like a consistent thing.
Yeah, no, because apparently it's radically different from most of Urusei Yatsura. Also, he and Rumiko Takahashi, they had a fucking blood feud apparently. They did not get along. He basically just shut her off entirely.
Okay, Takahashi is cool, but like, Oishi though.
Oishi is cool though, but yeah, that's like, what the fuck?
Oishi did Ghost in the Shell though!
He also did Jinro though!
Which is also radically different, and which is also so radically different from the manga that now every entry gets to be radically different from the manga.
And I hear significantly better.
Not Arise.
Not Arise.
I don't think people will speak positively of Arise or 2045.
I meant just the original movie.
I will neither confirm nor deny that. I have to actually read the manga. I just know it's significantly different, just even looking at it.
And also the Pat Labor movies.
But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, how do we like the ending of Shirobako? Because CBF, I remember you telling me in DMs that you, like, choked up when the girl finally got the voice acting role of the main girl of the second anime's, like, little sister.
I really like the second half.
Yeah.
Somebody I know said that bit where, like, she gets the role and, like, Miyamori's, like, there hiding behind her paper, just bawling her eyes out, is one of the realest moments in anime, and I can't bring myself to disagree.
I feel that so much.
It really is, especially because it's like, Shizuka, the redhead girl, I know you're talking about, Shizuka had been the only one out of the main 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like freaking Emma, Misa, Miyamori, and Midori / Diesel-san, they all managed to get into the production of this show and just other things. They managed to break out to the industry successfully over the course of this show. But Shizuka had been turned down for voice acting roles every single audition.
Again and again. Watching the show is watching her fail.
And yeah, and then now we get this moment that absolutely catches Miyamori by surprise. Like, her eyes just glow up. She's like, "Ah," when she sees her walk into the room. And when we get the line, like, that where she recites, I am now one step closer to my dream. Everyone felt that.
Yeah, I want to say, this leads into one of the things that I really appreciate about the show, is that they didn't have the main 5, like, all be together in the same production from the very start. Because originally that's what I expected the show to be, that like, oh, they're all part of the same company, they're all working on this thing together, we're just going through that. But no, in the beginning they were all doing a lot of separate things while still aiming towards their goals and being a part of the industry. And it is over the course of the second half that things start to coalesce, and it feels way more impactful, where you get moments like that, or moments where the girl, Diesel-chan, I feel bad for not remembering her name.
Nickname.
Yeah, it's such a nice nickname.
People will always call her Diesel-san anyway.
Yeah, Diesel-san.
Yeah, just like we're always gonna call Miyamori Idepon Miyamori.
I'll call her Miyamorin.
CBF, do we need to have a talk about waifus? And the difference between 2D and 3D?
Hey, that is the name of an emote server in Critics and Connoisseurs server that you and I are both in, Lone Crit. You know this.
Alright, enough of this background lore. Anyways, that scene where Diesel-san was struggling to really, get into the writing process and doing those exercises with that one dude, and just generally contributing information and research into that project was incredibly endearing to me.
Yeah. Especially because it's as you said, they all used to just be part of the same class together. They all were in the same animation club with Don Donuts, Let's Go Nuts, with their cute little donuts and everything.
I just want to say, I just love how they do the Don Donuts! And you just, smash cut to, Miyamori driving in the middle of the night, or, something, or just generally being tired in the middle of work, and life is not working out the way she expected.
Yeah, just no. Then you just see her just tearing her hair out ugh, fucking hate this stressful production. Fuck you, Taro-kun.
Why do I work with this blonde mohawk douchebag?
Just use the hard cut meme of Zoomer music or millennial depressing music over her driving.
Man. But yeah, it takes so long for all of them to coalesce. At least some of them don't even make it into the first show. Shizuka only gets in at episode 23. Which is when they're recording for the last episode of the second show. She doesn't get in until the tail end of the second production, and that's her first step. They can all 5 technically say that they have joined the same production. Finally.
And it was all because of some bullshit they managed to pull out of their ass because they had to change the ending. Which, that I incredibly felt, because that were so many endings in old anime.
Yeah, I also really like the conversation between the director and the mangaka. Ridiculous as it was hilarious. Just that taking it so seriously, they're just there to me this represents blah 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 myself, to you this represents, but to me... It's we stepped into a completely different anime.
But it was incredibly base, because these are 2 artists that clearly care about the craft and through each other and interacting with one another, they improve their understanding of the story.
Dude, are you joking? The guy's manga looks like shit. Are you sure he's an artist and not an artiste?
Shut up, Squidward!
Yeah, you elitist dickhole.
Artiste.
Just saying, both the anime look like shit, although I will say the second one, it looks kinda okay sometimes.
You should see how it looks in the OVA, where we actually get slices of both of those shows. I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, neither look that appealing. One is a magical girl show thing that I haven't seen. I am not familiar that much with magical girls. The other is freaking girls with planes, and then in the OVA, it just becomes even more, very fan-servicey with the character designs.
It looks reminiscent of Summer Wars, and to a lesser extent, Gunslinger Girl. Sure, why not?
But Gunslinger Girl
You're
was
just saying
good,
that because of the main girl.
By the way, I find it hilarious when the director's and then the magical girls, they're gonna... Also, yeah, I am saying it because the main girl deal with it. But I really like when they're talking about the ending of the first anime, and then the magical girls, they're gonna, ride away on horses into the sunset. And you're what the fuck? And the guy's just, writing it what a fantastic ending. And you're what?
Hey, we never said that these guys were going to make good shows. Just that this was a good show about people making shows.
Yeah.
You know what, this seems like a fair representation of the anime industry, because I get the feeling that a good chunk of shows have been made by,
I think we're good.
But yeah, this feels like a fair representation of the anime industry, though, in many ways, which is very sad, in that... Fucking dog. Anyway, I was just saying, this feels like a good represent...
But yeah. Oh, fucking god.
Anyway, this feels like a good representation of the anime industry in many ways, though, in the fact that a good chunk of shows that come out, I do kind of expect that behind the scenes they've actually been made by lobotomized otaku that have been only left with a tiny... that have that have only been left with a tiny, barely functional part of their brains remaining. And unfortunately that part is the part that watched anime.
Just say that they're autistic.
Yeah, like people who have just been driven to the ground by the industry and just like the horrible working conditions.
That is not at all
so
what I
many
said.
companies are black companies. And so, like, yeah, they have very little left. All they have is the media that basically is good for escapism. So, in many cases, they're basically just making adaptations of the kind of things that they escape to.
Jesus Christ, CBF, now I know what your future work career should be, because that is the most charitable interpretation you could have possibly put on what I said. I don't know how you took that away from the fact that we live in Miyazaki's dystopia, but...
I mean, it is because we live in Miyazaki's dystopia that so many people are resorting to this. And to Zaki's dystopia.
Hashtag Miyazaki was right.
Miyazaki was right.
He is indirectly responsible for Yoshiyuki Kondo being dead.
Anyways.
Also, there's a cute gothic Lolita girl in this one who's mysterious and she's fun.
Oh yeah, I like how they explained why she's a gothic Lolita.
That's also a good one.
But yeah, just so much about this show. Like, I forget the actual quote where it's like 50% realism and like something percent exaggeration and something percent like, what? And something percent like another thing.
Yeah. But yeah, anything else we feel like mentioning in the show? Because I don't have the most to say. It was pretty good. It was well done. It took me a bit to get in. But when the parts started moving, they really started moving.
Yeah, I think I give us a good 7 out of 10.
I know you guys like it, but when I saw it at the time, I loved it. I need to rewatch it at some point. Even other stuff we haven't mentioned, like the Andes Chucky sequence that made for the ending of episode 12. Just like that reference to like the World Masterpiece Theater era type stuff.
That was amazing.
That and one touch I love about the second ED, which we absolutely needed after episode 23, was just the fact that it changes constantly with every few episodes. You get to see a different character being animated, but then in episode 23, you see the entire cast, like the entire main girls, and now that everyone gets to finally be a part of the same production. Just like, yes. Just like that ding at the end, too. Like, I know you generally don't watch EDs, but that's the kind of thing that rewards people who watch EDs.
CBF, let me explain.
Like me.
Let me explain, CBF. I'm sorry, Uwu.
Kill yourself, Lone Fruit.
Kill yourself.
Jump off a skyscraper, and like Kirihiko's sister tried to get Shotaro to do.
Kill yourself twice.
Ara.
3 times.
I will say, by the way, there was the bit where, like, the one guy was making, like, snotty comments, the discount, nerdy twink Bakugo, and then the girl who never talks was, like, gonna interrupt him and be like, No be penis person. She was, like, gonna interrupt him, and he was like, huh? And she kind of sheepishly just, like, receded, and I thought they were building towards a thing. I thought they were building towards him being a massive dick, and her just, like, exploding at him, or, like, having the moment. But, I guess not.
It's also cool that we actually get to see that guy, who you were officially calling Bakugo Glasses Twink, fuck you for that. It was just that he's not a dick because he's just like a douchebag, it's just because he got burned by shitty work culture at his previous occupation, and he's just bringing that work culture into this one, and it's getting on everyone's nerves. And he's just cynical about this kind of stuff.
I do appreciate, though, how, like, 2 or 3 people know him from, like, before, and they kind of, like, look at him with affection and understanding. I wish there was a little more of that, because I thought that was cute. I like the idea that he has, like, kind of social connections outside of the company, and just, like, the woman especially just gives him this kind of, like, smug look of, but also, like, a compassionate look of, I know how you used to be, man. It, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Emma's dance is iconic.
Of course.
It is
Just
iconic.
like, that little warm-up dance she does that she sings in, like, in Japanese, I believe in Spanish.
And then she gets joined in by the other one.
Yeah, and then, like, she's like, ah! And then, yeah, it's like she gets spooked by her, and then they do it, because, like, this is, like, a warm-up exercise to get her in better spirits.
Yeah, I tried looking up if that was based on an actual exercise. The closest thing that, I think it's called, like, angel wing exercises, like something for the shoulders, but they're not like that, so you learn something new.
You mean the anime exaggerated something to the point of non-realism?
Okay, listen here, common man.
Also, poor Misa. The first time we're talking about her is at the end of this, because
The niece is really
cool that she gets to join the CG production
Wasn't her name
team.
Emma?
They get someone. No, no. I'm talking about Misa now, the one who joins the CG production team.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Whatever. All these cute anime girls are interchangeable anyway.
Okay, misogynist.
Wow, fucking Gar man from the 2010s. You must really hate K-On!
Joke's on you. I've never seen K-On!
So much for that Anime Zone joke, though.
It's a shame we didn't get to talk about her, by the way, because I did like her. Like, she was, like, decent enough to follow. I like when she has that conversation with her boss, and he's like, and he doesn't pull out, "No, you're stuck in this business, yeah." That was cool. I like that, he seemed like understanding her. Okay,
Yeah.
you have dreams. Fair enough.
Yeah.
It was very even-handed.
By the way, I didn't like how you had all these, like, external stakeholders to, like, the animation studio, where he's like, they're talking about the voice actresses, and he's like, "Get her! She's popular! Get her! She works with my agency! Get her, booba!" Like, that to me felt a bit much. I felt like somebody just had, like, a very specific bone to pick, because that felt, like, even more exaggerated than almost everything else.
Yeah, I would love to see, like, some, like, writers or directors' commentary for this show in particular. But,
Yeah.
anyways.
If only circumstances allowed us to talk about it when you guys were a little bit more fresh. But speaking of shows where we're talking about an industry and where things can be surprisingly refreshing.
High 7. For Shirobako, yeah.
I gave it a 9 last time I checked.
Okay. Maybe I'd give it a low 8, but yeah. Kaiser?
High 7.
Okay.
Okay.
So, with that said, CBF, I think it's time we talk about your pornography. I mean shonen manga.
I mean, as certain Twitter users, there's no difference.
Anyway. Akane-banashi. Did you think you were gonna get away with this without me knowing?
Yes.
Well, the worst part about this is, since he only read, like, about 10 chapters, there's only so much we can talk about.
9.
9 chapters.
Yeah, I will say, he did spoil me on a couple things. Those you can talk about a bit more liberally as well.
But yeah, so, first things first, CBF. Now the cat's out of the bag. What do you think?
I like it. It's really fun.
Yes!
Cards on the table, I'm giving it the general same score range you guys gave Shirobako.
High 7 is still good!
Yeah, it'll start out that way. I'm almost putting it at an 8. I'm almost up to date. I actually love Akane. I love her as a protagonist. She's probably the best, like, female protagonist for shonen that I've seen. Which, granted, there aren't that many, so...
And you guys actually read and watch more than, like, 10 shonen, so more than me. So that opinion probably matters.
Kaiser, that's almost like saying that Tanjiro is My Hero Academia Vigilantes guy is my favorite My Hero Academia protagonist. It's a very small pool, my guy.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna say low bar, but then again, we're talking main protagonist, not like, oh, Lucy from Fairy Tail is one of the main 4, Sakura is one of the main 3.
And hey, this says a lot, because Alita from Battle Angel Alita is one of my favorite characters in general.
Yeah. So, dialing it back to Akane, first things first. CBF, you read the initial, arc, where Akane goes and works in the restaurant, and she learns.
Yeah.
She did learning, and then she goes and puts it into practice. So before this call started, you're like, yes, thank you for getting me to read chapters 8 and 9. Why did you thank me about this, CBF?
Yeah, I said, I'm glad I listened to Lone Crew because, man, the payoff and some of that, I will grab my volume right now.
Mm-hmm.
But just like some of the panels, like when we see the clouds rushing through her as she's looking at the audience, when one of the guys is like, oh, and she's sizing him up, she's trying to get a feel for the audience, like, and we see that panel, that was like, yes!
That was really good.
Oh yeah, the spreads in Akane-banashi are gorgeous.
Everything in this manga is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, CBF, as I'm sure you can see, from the beginning, the paneling, just the panel composition is so beautiful. Like, the contents of the panels, the camera angles, the way they flow, it's just so pretty looking. It's like, on a literal panel-to-panel, page-to-page level, incredibly nice to look at.
Yeah, a bunch of really nice Dutch angles too. Like when Toru, because that is his actual name, is actually just like panicking, and then he's like, no, I should not be panicking over my performance. That will decide whether or not I get to be a Shinichi. Just like that stuff. Or when we get to it being announced, that stuff was also really good. And my favorite part of that first chapter, it wasn't even when Ishin just comes up and is like, I am sorry for the shoddy performances you had to endure today. I'm expelling all of these people. They are a disgrace to this art form.
Dude, this is the equivalent. That was like the equivalent of, what was it? What Miyazaki said to whoever the fuck were those people.
This is an insult to life
Goro.
itself.
Yes!
Oh yeah, to that CG department.
Insert anything he's ever said to or about
Another director.
his son, because, you know, Hayao, fuck everything, especially my son, Goro Miyazaki.
This was so much worse than that. He was like, no, they're all being officially expelled from my school. And then when one of them was like, that was a really funny joke, he just doubled down. He's like, I am sorry for what you had to witness today. And everyone's just like, what the fuck? And then the wife, just like Akane as a kid, is just like, Mom, what does that mean? What does expelled mean? And she just, like, the wife just has this look of horror in her eyes as she whispers his name. Like, and that is like the first time you hear his actual name, when
It's
you hear
Shinta,
Shinta's
right?
real name for the... No, Shinta is the name given. His actual name is Toru.
Yeah.
So when she just, like, whispers that is the first time we hear, like, that in the entire thing. Just that moment where it's like, oh shit. Oh, this is actually happening. And she is devastated.
So that reaction was your favorite bit in Chapter 1.
Yes.
Which, what a way to start a story.
And man, Akane, like, she is, like, a fun lead, and some of her facial expressions are just perfect.
Oh yeah, very diverse set of facial expressions. I'm guessing you're talking about the, like, very, like, chibi comedic reactions where she's like, what? By the way, I posted some images on my server the other day. I love that we just have a shonen protagonist that just jokes around. She just cracks jokes.
She just cracks wise with everybody.
Like, when she's being introduced, Arakawa's other people, the first one she sees, just accidentally fucks his way in, just barges in by mistake. She's just like, this is Akane Osaki is Shinta's daughter. She's like, Mafa, weeg, woo, and just gets this weird-ass facial expression while she does it, and in parentheses, it's just nice
another
to meet
one of my favorite ones was during her sort of training with serving customers. You probably saw this one. And she was trying to sell, she was trying to really hard to sell, like, the food and stuff to the customer, like she's a shady salesman, and she pulls this shit-eating grin.
Yeah.
See, I love that story, by the way. You know what I really like about that? I like that nobody told her, right, this is what you do. Like, this is the point of what you're doing. Just put her in the situation, and, like, I like that she didn't have this moment where she's like, man, fuck my elders, blah, blah, blah. She was just like, huh? And then she's like, okay, I'll go along with it. Because these people I respect told me to do this.
Yeah, like, instead of all that, we get a case where it's like, alright, we're putting you for this, and we're guiding you through these steps. The only time you really get, like, what you described is with the second person who takes her on, because he's just, like, showing her the basics for stuff like chores and whatnot, and she's like, you're just making me do chores! Yeah. That's what Zenza people do. That's part of what they do.
Yeah, generally speaking though, I really like how incredibly respectful Akane is. Like, think about it, when was the last time you saw, like, a consistently respectful to almost everyone's shonen lead? She just has this attitude where she firmly, like, Yeah, but Kenshin's a bit different.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because, like, she will be pointedly disrespectful to two different characters, but to almost everyone else, she's like, yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, normally when you have a shonen lead at the bottom of the hierarchy, you know, they're kind of rebellious, or they're arrogant, or have an attitude, or they have to, like, be maybe laid down to, like, be told what to do. But she just, like, consistently seems to believe that the people above her, who have more experience, they have worked for it, they deserve the respect they get, and if they tell her something, there's probably a reason for it.
Yeah.
She doesn't just, like, she doesn't just, like, go and assume she knows best or does her own thing. Like, she's like, huh? about her master, but she doesn't even, like, doubt him, and she just, like, she does it a bit, and she's like, I get it! I get it!
Yeah, she tries to figure out, okay, there's a trick behind this. I have to figure it out. I don't get it, but I'm gonna get it.
One of my favorite panels is the juxtaposition between two different reactions Kaisei Arakawa has during his rakugo performance, where it's just like playing this one just like very sexy character, and then we get to when they're singing, and then we get to her client, the guy when she's singing, it just goes from like this really nice like seductive pose to like this ugly like reacting fat bastard type facial, like
Yeah, Kaisei is interesting. Oh yeah, Kaizo, remember when I told you, hey, you're gonna get to one bit? You know what I mean now, where I was like, yeah, if there's, like, one character, if, like, Akane-banashi has a villain, I think it's that character. You get it now?
Yeah, I get it now.
Because, like, you see that person's performance and you're like, holy shit, this person is unhinged. Because, like, you see that character and you're afraid they're gonna do something dangerous at some point.
So about as afraid as the first guy was when seeing Akane's performance, when you should like, no, forget the terror that guy is pretending to feel over eating those meat buns. Akane is the most terrifying I've seen lately. Like the most terrifying thing I've seen in a long time.
What was the reason? Is it because she was so talented?
Yeah, because it's like, she has obviously been training for way longer than the 6 years she had been trained by Arakawa.
I really like the fact, though, that, you know, the first volume really, like, ingrains the idea of how hard-working Akane is. Like, for how many years she's been watching her dad following along. For how many years, as, like, a little girl, no guarantee of success. Like, as a little girl, she made that decision, and she put in year after year after year. Tens, maybe hundreds of hours into just, like, following Master Shiguma's instructions, and getting better and better, and growing up and, like, sticking to this craft, like, over and over and over and over. And so finally get to the beginning of the manga and you're like,
Yeah, it feels very... It's sort of weird, because a lot of shonen do the same thing. But Akane does a very good job of getting me very invested in that sense where it's like, it's obvious that this character has been trying at this for so long, and now we're at the beginning of the story, and they're already really good, but they have so much to learn. This really feels satisfying here.
yeah, I think it's because it's set in the real world, so you can really identify with that vision of what hard work looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is true, but not only that, but it also you just feel the crushing weight of what happened with her father so much. Especially, I think the real world aspect kind of adds to that, because he literally sunk in presumably most of his adult life into learning this craft and getting good at it.
Oh yeah, it was like his hopes and dreams. He put everything on this.
Yeah, and it got thrown in his face and literally thrown out of it.
And that was the thing that made the daughter proud of him. And then so to see everyone be like, good for you, you have a real job now. Like, that boiled her piss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, how does no one see that? They're just like, good for you, you have a real job. Good for
Yeah,
you.
you hippie.
You're kicked out of your hopes and dreams, your life. Now you have to live a completely different life while still raising your kid and having the support of your wife. Now you're now having to struggle in this new thing. It's like, man, yeah, no, she was not happy about that.
I love, by the way, how you don't have any interfamilial drama, like how much Akane's mother and father like love and support each other.
Yeah, just loving, supporting parents in general in this manga.
Especially her mother. Her mother's like the cornerstone of that family.
Yes, and I love her mom. She's...
Loving, supporting two parents in a shonen manga?
Oh my god, I just noticed that! I just noticed that, holy shit!
It's like, no deadbeat dads, no dead moms. They're both alive, and they're both like, we're proud of you, kid. Do what you gotta do. We're here.
So, Kaiser, what were you gonna say? Kaiser, what were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say the same thing that you did. That it's like, a protagonist with actual loving parents in a shonen manga that are relevant to the story and support their characters'
Naruto must
dreams.
be so jealous.
Gon must be so jealous. Edward is just seething
Yusuke
right
is
now.
jealous right now.
Yeah, hey, Yusuke had a mother, and, like, Gon had an aunt. But, like, okay, so skipping ahead, so now I want to talk about, like, around chapter 30. So what do we think about the fact that Isho Arakawa forced Akane to kind of agree with him partially on the line of reasoning for which he expelled her father? Like, CBF, now that you read the first volume plus 2 chapters, how does it feel to, like, get to that, like, moment in a story?
Yeah, especially because now I see the moment where, yeah, you can feel him just sort of stumbling. He's skipping parts that other people notice. Is like, oh god, he's rushing. He's stumbling over his words at the beginning of his speech. And he's like, your votes can literally change my life. It's like, yeah, sure, they applauded. He managed to make a good performance at the end of the day. But he sort of stumbled a bit to get there. And as he points out, if part of the applause came from the fact that they sympathize with him and his situation, if it's not all about his art and his merits, what worth is it? What worth is his rakugo if that is not the sole thing influencing their reactions and applause?
And Akane admitted it! Akane said it! Like, when he said, what was wrong with you? Like, when Isho said something, like, she guessed what he was going to say before he said it. Which, again, so she admitted that on some level she thought the same and just didn't want to admit it.
Yes, it kind of also gave the idea that she thought this relatively recently, just as a result of getting more and more exposed to doing rakugo and meeting other people and actually having a much more thorough idea of, like, how talented people are. So it's just something that she just did not want to admit. So it just blows your mind where it's all like, holy shit, the bad guy, quote unquote, actually has a point, and the protagonist could not have an answer. And that's not painted exactly as an entirely bad thing.
And again, the words came out of her mouth first. She basically agreed with him, even if she didn't think that he was justified for doing what he did.
Yeah, she was like, I mean, I guess there was that. And eventually she's just like, thank you. Now I know that this wasn't for some bullshit nothing reason.
But you're still a dickhead.
I will prove you wrong, but I'm glad that you had an understandable reason for what you did.
And then in turn, Isho isn't like a petty dick, and he's like, good. The new generation are hopefully going to enrich the art form.
And he's like, I look forward to this.
Like, how cool is that? How cool is that?
Yeah, now we have a generation with some balls.
See, I feel like that's the moment that really elevates the series and what it's about, because we escape that, like, classical, like, hero-villain, young versus old dichotomy.
Oh, we gotta destroy, or fuck the establishment, that kind of shit.
Yeah, because I know, like, with Japanese culture, it tends to be about, no, we should be allowed to stick out, because the man, our culture, all that stuff, no, we're gonna live out what we wanted to do for so long. We will not be judged for sticking out.
At least in shonen manga.
At least in shonen manga. In this way, it's very different, where it's sort of like a mix of like, okay, it's fine to innovate, but in order for us to actually do that, we actually have to understand and appreciate the fundamentals of the culture that we are stepping into. Because otherwise, that shit is going to die out.
Yeah, by the way, Kaiser, what chapter of the manga are you on exactly?
75.
Okay, so you didn't get to one of the moments I found the most interesting. What do you think of the conclusion of the last arc?
Perfect. It is 100% perfect.
Keep in mind, what we just talked about was like in the late 20s. This is so far ahead.
Yeah, to me, this was like the moment in Ippo, Season 1. You know the one I'm talking about, after he fought Date.
Oh, okay. I think I kinda get what you mean. I love how, like, during that last arc, Akane was, like, a growing mid-performance, and, like, making her peace with, like, her father's craft and his legacy, and, like, kind of... It was like she was being reborn as a performer in real time. And then the way the tournament ended, and what that brought out of her, that was just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll just say 2 last things I want to bring up, because one of them is in Volume 1, where we get the moment where Shinta's master has to confront the mom and be like, I'm sorry, I did all of this behind your back, and I wasn't even able to protect your husband. And she's like,
Oh, I knew about it.
what are you talking about? I already knew all that. And she's like, wait, what the fuck? You knew all
Yes,
this?
because my daughter trusted
she told
me.
My daughter told me right away. Yeah, I told her right away. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
And then we get the moment where she's like, yeah, no, I don't approve of it, but I knew this entire time. And one last thing that got me over this was when my husband literally said, under Master Shigama's care, we have nothing to worry about. And we just see his eyes widen. We see Shigama's eyes just widen, like a weight has been lifted from his shoulders.
Yeah, loving, like I said, supportive, understanding parents in a shonen manga? How does that happen?
Yeah, because you gotta presume he felt responsible for Arakawa and Fashinta being expelled.
Yes.
Yeah, like she was like, no, I failed to protect my pupil. I am still upset. I even, like, screamed at Ishin, like, what the fuck? You can't expel my pupil! What are you doing? And, like, we get to a scene where, the wife is crying to him, and just like, why? Why did this have to happen? And he couldn't say a damn thing in the past.
Yeah, and think about it this way, every criticism Isho had of Shinta applies to him. He is his teacher. So that is doubly fucked.
Well, in a way, because, remember, the school, the Arakawa school has, a top 4, and Shiguma is one of those top 4. He's a rakugo master.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a Shinichi. And that brings me to one of my other favorite moments, from chapter 9, after the end of it, where she's after the moment where she's like, this gives me a new appreciation for rakugo I didn't have before. But we get to a flashback where the master, and he's just like, all this stuff, rakugo, this was based on from the workers of our time, the fishermen, the common workers of our time. This was how they felt back then, and even if you don't understand that now, so you will grow to understand the stories and feelings of the people who made them, because this kind of stuff, this human experience is universal. It transcends time.
I love that. I love so much.
And you will grow to understand that. And we see that after she does. After, getting the experience on the restaurant and doing the stuff for the retirement home after she kinda didn't get the reaction she wanted from the last batch of old people. So it's yes, already we see this great character growth.
But yeah, to conclude, Akane-banashi, fantastic. 7, maybe even 8 out of 10. CBF, I know you agree, Kaiser?
Yeah, I'll say the same thing. High 7.
Akane, one of the best shonen protagonists, question mark?
I'm not sure if I could say that or not, but she's definitely up there.
Her enthusiasm is infectious.
Not to mention her drip. Can we talk about her drip?
Oh, yeah. Oh my god, yes, the Akane drip is so good.
Now I love, the purple highlights on her hair. She is styling.
We will revisit this one day.
When this becomes an anime, I swear to god, it's going to cause, a fashion blow-up over here.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, everybody has so much drip, including Karashi. Fuck you, fight me.
No, I agree.
Yeah, but yeah, and, I only fear that it'll get compared to Rakugo, because, they're both, Shogen no Rakugo Shinichi.
That's not fair.
That's not fair.
Yeah, that's not fair. Even if this also gets adapted by Shinichi Maura, or the name we're supposed to call him, Maura Hatakayama, it's this will be unfair. It'll be like when Bocchi was compared to Kaguya 3. Let's try to keep that to a minimum. They're both great.
Anyway, though, Shirobako, really good. 7 to 8. Akane, also really good.
But
7 out of 10.
however, it's great. But want to know what's even better? The greatest shonen manga of all
What
time.
are you doing? CBF, what are you doing?
And
What are you
shonen
doing?
anime of our current generation.
What are you doing, CBF? What are you doing, CBF?
I rescind what I said about
What are you doing? No,
Demon Slayer. Kimetsu no Yaiba is the best shonen anime we've ever...
CBF.
Unstable wrongthink confirmed.
No!
System logical
No!
inconsistency noted. File.
No, God, no!
System will now transfer to phase number
No,
729.
not again! Not again! Not again! Not again! Not again!
Continuous phenomenon reset. Now, reset sequence initiated.
Oh god, what's happening?
We'll
What's happening?
re-establish system contact after reset.
What? We're good?
What?
Hey! What happened?
What the fuck happened?
I have no idea.
Loker, what did you press?
I pressed a button and we just phased out and phased back in.
Longer, you know what they say about just haphazardly pressing buttons.
I didn't know the button was there.
How'd you not know the
At least it
button was
wasn't a
there?
self-destruct button, but
Look, but
where the fuck
we
are
escaped
we?
the time reset though.
How much time?
We did? Takamagahara didn't fuck us over this time?
That's surprising.
Also,
CBF.
was that Shapes?
CBF, I think the cafe is in fact a TARDIS. Like in Doctor Who.
Okay, so...
I know, wait,
God.
I know what's happened. We have been transported to an alternative universe, thereby escaping the time reset and the Takamagahara.
Does that mean they have donuts here?
That is the wrong thing to pay attention to. Let me check the internet real quick. Oh my god, Kentaro Miura is still alive!
What? Alright, hold on. I gotta see this.
Oh my god, Watsuki never had child porn! And the new Rurouni Kenshin manga anime came out a few years ago and everybody loved it!
Oh
We're
my
getting
god.
a season 3!
Guys, you can't...
Wait, you know in this reality he just wasn't caught.
Let's ignore that. But the real thing is, in this reality, Ken Ishikawa is alive, and Gerobo arc, the manga was finished, and it got animated by,
Was the anime good?
Yes! It has like 5
Was it
out of 10.
directed by Hideaki Anno?
He was one of the key animators.
Let's go! He did the key animation for Nausicaa and Macross Do You Remember Love? And Blaze Blue Central Fiction got dubbed!
Hang on, wait a sec. But there is no Shin Kamen Rider in this universe.
Which means someone has to give Anno the blowjob.
But there's also no Kamen Rider the First in this universe.
I still want Shin back.
Guys, we have a problem.
What?
We have 7 Fooly Cooly sequels in this timeline.
Well, we're going back.
Moving on. Okay, guys, look. Shirobako has a movie. How about we just call it for today? Watch the movie, come back a little later, and then we can just
do something.
I'm reading Gerobo arc.
Holy shit! Is that the Arcadia? Guys! I think it's the Arcadia!
It's what?
Oh my god!
It's getting out of the warp portal! Oh my god!
Oh no.
Evacuate! I am Lonecrit, this is the Newtypes podcast, here with my co-hosts.
I'm CBF of the Newtypes podcast.
And I'm Kaiser Shonen of the Newtypes podcast, and we are getting the fuck out of here.
See you next time, and next season.
Also, whatever happened to Aki and Roger?
They're safe in our universe, I'm sure.